Hey, what's up everyone? Today we are looking at the Bandai S.H.Figuarts Tekken 8 Jin Kazama and Kazuya Mishima figures. So you can see that I already got these out of their packaging. I've had them for a couple of weeks now. I just couldn't find the right time to review these. I was way too excited to not open these since the Tekken series is one of my all-time favorite fighting game series, and this is a game that I've been waiting to officially get S.H.Figuarts. So this is going to be a full review, but also a more comparison review to the Game Dimensions line. So let me just show off their packaging. So obviously the figures, would be in the open window right here. So here is the top of the boxes right here. It's a little open window up there. Here is the bottom. Here's the side right here. And then here's the other side. And finally, here is the back right here. So you can see we just get some images of the figures right there. Okay, so here's a closer look at the Jin figure. So far, this looks pretty nice. You can see, this is of course based off of how he is in Tekken 8. With the new attire we got going on, like the jacket, which is actually molded on to the figure, so it's not removable. But the paint around the jacket looks pretty nice. I really think the paint looks pretty nice all around this figure, along with like the gauntlet and the gloves. And then of course, the pants and the boots are of course, plain really. There's some details there at the bottom of the boots, but I think aesthetically it does look pretty good. I think maybe if there was a little bit of wash going on, as everything's pretty much in a matte finish really. So I think if there was like a wash around the jacket or the shirt inside, I think that probably would have helped it a lot more. But overall, it doesn't really look too bad. You can see like this right here is like a soft plastic. You can actually like remove this really. It doesn't really do much really. I mean, it's it's there, it's part of the attire, but I thought I would throw that in. Overall, it's not so bad, and I'm gonna get in a little bit more on the head sculpt, but I do want to of course compare it to the Game Dimensions Jin figure, since this is more of a comparison review. Now you can see, because I gotta put the camera back a little bit more, you can see this one is a whole lot taller. I know these are two different lines, but this is just to give you an idea of like, yeah, these are completely different. This one is a whole lot taller than the S.H.Figuarts, and you can see that the skin tone on this one's it's not as pale as this one is. This one's a lot more pale compared to this one. So here's a closer look at the head sculpt right here, and you can see it's probably a little bit hard to see the eyes just because of the hair, but that's how the eyes look for a closer look, and then the eyebrows too. Honestly, it's not really a bad head sculpt. Like, I can look at this and still see Jin. I think it's fine. I feel like the neutral head sculpts are probably going to be the best for these figures compared to the other interchangeable head sculpts that I'll show off, but this one's not so bad really. I think it's just the skin tone where he just looks a little too pale. And then I'll just bring in, I have to zoom out a little bit since this figure's a lot taller, but here is the Game Dimensions one right here. But showing off the jacket here more, you can still see like the zippers and the pockets right there. And again, I do really like the paint job here. There's the hoodie, of course. You can barely see the zippers, like they're like still blended in with the the jacket a little bit. And of course, the shirt underneath, there's like another layer right here that you can move a little bit. Of course, we got like some straps going on. There's the gloves, right, the gauntlet, and then the plain black pants, and then the boots right here. So now for the accessories. So this is going to be the head sculpt and then the hands. That's already going to be on the figure. But you do get two extra interchangeable head sculpts. There's one where he's like looking off to the side, and then there's like a yelling expression. And then you do get a spread of interchangeable hands, for different posing. And then the other accessory you get here. So this actually came in the box. This is, like a cardboard background of the stage. You can see there's, of course, two of them, but I don't usually mess around with these. I just leave them in really, but they're pretty much just to, you can see it right here, but they're just cardboard like backdrops of really pretty much the stage. They did this with like their Street Fighter line as well, Now for the articulation. So I'm gonna do both of them just to give you an idea of how the articulation is gonna be on these guys. So for the S.H.Figuarts, you know, for the head, we get a ball peg up here, and then there's one for the neck too. So you are able to, you know, have Jin look up or down, which is really really nice. You know, nice tilts there, and then of course your full rotation there, right? For this figure right here, and you're still able to look up. Well, look up not as much, like he'll still look straight forward, but looking down wasn't an issue, and you still get really nice tilts. This one actually has more better tilts than that one, than your rotation, right? This one right here for the arms, of course we have the butterfly joints this time, which are okay. They're okay, you know, you'll be able to get them back just about there. Far forward, not really so much though, you know, and then hinge to the shoulder about there. We are double jointed, but that's the amount of range you get there. Unfortunately, the range isn't really that great. There is upper bicep swivel, but it's really rotating you know, this entire piece, since there is like a ball hinge right there that's connecting to the torso. But yeah, the range isn't really that great for the elbows really. And then, you know, of course you can rotate the wrists, and they're all also on ball hinges really. And that's pretty much that, and the gauntlet rotates too. Now the arms for this figure, so there wasn't really a butterfly joint, there was just a ball peg connecting to the torso, so you were able to move them, you know, left and right, and like up and down really. But we did get a hinge to the shoulder, which does go a lot higher, as you can see. And then we do have our upper bicep swivel. Of course we are double jointed with the elbows, and this is the difference with the range right here. So you can see this one is a lot better. And then, you know, of course your rotation, and then your, you know, your ball hinge for the wrist really, right? Now for the torso, so of course we have the double ball peg down here, ab crunch just that much, back about there not so much, and then to the side it's not terrible, and then you have your rotation, right? So yeah, not bad. This one, of course, we had that ab crunch, but then there was like a ball peg here, so that much right there, which is nice. Far back about there, and then out to the side was really good too. Now for the hips, we can go out to the side about this much. This figure does have drop down hips, so without using the drop down hips, it can kick far forward about there, and then using the drop down hips, not really much of a huge difference really. And then, you know, it can kick back, which is pretty nice. We have our upper thigh cut rotating on there, double jointed with the knees. No boot rotation, but for the ankles, they do go far back about there, not so much though, and not so much to go far forward. You do have your ankle rocker, and then there is a toe hinge right there. And then for this figure, so out to the side, you pretty much get full on splits. The belt is a floaty piece, so it will tend to do that, but you know, full on splits. This one didn't have, or did it have drop? Oh, it did actually. Okay, it did have drop down hips. I forgot about that. So without using the drop down hips, it can still go high pretty well, and then using the drop down hips, it just goes even higher, right? So that's crazy. It can still kick all the way back. You do have your upper thigh cut right there. We are double jointed with the knees, still really good range. And then, you know, ball hinges for the feet, goes far back, really far forward right there, right? Except the pants, the rubber pants kind of moves a little bit. Your ankle rocker is there, your rotation. So just one more thing that I want to show off a little bit better here that I don't really think I showed off too well, but for the ankles, they can actually rotate. I'm not sure if I really showed that well. And, you know, of course you can move them all the way around. The forward and back, it's okay. I think it's all right, but you know, your ankle rocker and your rotation is pretty good, right? For the elbows, so you can actually make them bend a little bit better. So you get that much if you just, you know, do a hinge like that. But if you move the lower joint here to the forearm before, The range is a little bit better, and you can see the difference here. See, this one's like a little bit more angled than this one is. It's not like a huge difference really, but I thought I would show that off. And then if I use this figure, you can still see the difference. Like, so the angle does make it a lot better. Next up here is the Kazuya figure, and I'm actually liking this one a lot more than the Gen figure. I really think aesthetically this figure looks a lot better, but it actually poses a lot better too in my opinion, and I like how he's not like as pale either. Like, this is actually a really nice looking Kazuya figure. Probably the best looking Kazuya figure, maybe, but I don't know, man. I'm really liking this one a lot more, honestly. I just think this actually looks pretty good, really good. I like the gloss finish here with the you know, the coat right here. Really nice attention to detail, man. It looks so cool. The gloves, of course, the you know, the vest, the entire suit. This one is of course molded onto the figure, so you also can't take this off. Everything else is pretty plain Jane, you know, with the suit, really, you know, the tie and everything. The plain black boots, which are also pretty glossy too. You know, the bottom of the shoes right there. Yeah, it's pretty nice, man. I really like it, and you know, Kazuya is one of my favorites too. So this is just nice to have a great looking Kazuya figure. Plus his birthday just passed recently, so that's also that. Now for a comparison, so here it is with the Game Dimensions Kazuya. Now you guys already know, when I first reviewed this figure, I was already talking about how tall this figure is. So look at it next to the S.H.Figuarts, man. This is crazy. Yeah, it's a lot taller here. So here's a closer look at the head sculpt right here, and I really do like this head sculpt. It's gonna be similar to Gen, where I feel like their neutral head sculpts are just a lot better than the other ones, but this one I really do like. You can see like the scars there on his cheek, and honestly the eyes and the eyebrows, you know, even the lips, like everything's like painted pretty well. It does look really nice. I do like this head sculpt. I feel like for me, I mean, you can still see like the red eye just a little bit. It's a little hard to see, but for me, I feel like the paint here is cleaner on this side, because here there's like a little bit of too much black around the eye right there, where it almost looks like there's like a little bit like eyeshadow there. It just looks a little too messy compared to this side. But you know, from far away, of course, you don't really see it as much. But again, I think this is a pretty good looking Kazuya Mishima head sculpt. I think they definitely nailed it right there. And I'll just do a comparison how it looks to the Game Dimensions one, of course, if you want to see like just a, you know, quick little comparison of the head sculpts here. It's a pretty soft material. Like, you can see if I just move it out like this, see, so that's pretty cool. You can move it out like that, so that's gonna help with like leg articulation. Now for the accessories. So of course this is going to be the head, and then the hands, that's already going to be on the figure. You get 2 extra interchangeable head sculpts. They're also similar to Gen, where one is like looking off to the side, but then the other one's more of a yelling expression. And then you get a spread of hands, except Kazuya gets like 1 like interchangeable like open hand, and that's like, I think that's just for a pose to have the fist and the palm, really. Then of course he also comes with the backdrop right here, so the same thing like the cardboard backdrop here of the stage, really. I was thinking on maybe if it'd be cool if they added the devil form as a head sculpt where he's all purple, but then I thought about it, and the only way they could have done that was of course do the head sculpt and then paint the, you know, the skin here for the, you know, the fingerless gloves here purple. But then you would have had the neck, unless they give you an interchangeable purple neck or something, I don't know, which I don't think they would have done anyway. So now for the articulation, so there is a ball joint here for the head along with the neck. You're not really going to get a lot of movement though with the neck due to the collar, so there's not really going to be enough to help Kazuya move the head as much. He can like still look down and then look up just a little bit, and not a lot for any tilts really. So yeah, it's a little limited compared to Gen, and then you have your standard, you know, rotation there, right? And then the head here for this figure, so it's the same way where we have the ball peg. Well, actually no, I think the peg was actually just connected to the neck, so there wasn't really much of a movement there, but most of it is coming from the neck here. But you were still able to have, you know, Kazuya look down just about there, and then he was still able to like look up really. And the tilts wasn't terrible. It does move the neck though, unfortunately, which makes it look a little weird. And then you have your, you know, your standard rotation, right? And then for this figure, for the shoulders, this also has butterfly joints. I feel like his move a little bit better than Jin, because I'm still able to, you know, put the arm across the chest really and move it a bit more, which is still pretty impressive. You know, considering that he has so much layering going on. The articulation is still pretty good, and then it can still go far back just about there. It's not terrible by all means, you know. Of course you have your upper bicep swivel. We are still double jointed with the elbows, and I still think he gets more range than Jin, which is crazy. You know, wrists are on a ball hinge, you know, rotation there, right? So not bad. And then for this figure, for the arms, this one can move all the way up like that. Your bicep swivel was there. We are of course double jointed with the elbows. Still get pretty good range right there, right? And then the wrists were also just on a ball hinge. So yeah, that was that. Oops, just dropped the hand right there. So we got a ball peg up here and then down here, and you're able to have him crunch forward pretty well actually. It's gonna look weird because it's gonna be out like that really. If it was maybe like this, it would have been better. Oh, actually it kind of stays a little bit in place. But yeah, crunch forward and then back. Back isn't terrible. Yeah, that's actually not bad. And then out to the side is still pretty good. So it's really good. It's really good. A lot better than Jin, right? This one right here, we did of course have the ab crunch here, but then the ball peg to the you know, to the waist right there. And this one can crunch forward a little bit. If I go any more, it's probably going to pop off. So I think the S.H.Figuarts crunch forward is a lot better, but this one of course crunch back's a lot better right there. And then you couldn't really go out to the side as much really. That's as much as you get, and then you have your rotation really. So yeah, a little range right there, right? Now for the hips for this figure, so kicking forward, wow, it actually kicks forward really well. And this guy doesn't have drop down hips, so he's still able to kick forward really high. Like that's, I think he even when Jin had the drop down hips, he can still kick higher. That's crazy. And then you can still kick all the way back if you move this, so that's really good. And then out to the side, but yeah, look at that, that's actually really good. So just out to the side, just about there. Upper thigh cut is there. We are double jointed with the knees, and that's still a pretty good range right there. And then the ankles, they can actually go far forward and back pretty well too. The pants cuff will limit that. You have your rotation, right? And then your toe hinge. You can kick forward. There is actually drop down hips with this figure, but kicking forward wasn't, you know, terrible really. But then when you add the drop down hips, you know, it can kick a lot higher, right? And then out to the side, no issues, you know, full on splits right there. Of course you had your upper thigh cut. There was double jointed with the knees. And then the ankles, they were just on a hinge though, so you're only able to have them go up and down, but the pants cuffs gets in the way, and there was really just a rotation. Alright, for another comparison, this time I threw both of them here together, and you can see they are both close to about the same height. Jin has gotten a lot taller now, so they're both like 5'11", but I believe Jin is like just slightly taller now, I want to say. And you can see they definitely did kind of capture that well. Jin is a bit slightly taller. So here's how they look with the Game Dimensions King and Heihachi figures. So you can see that the scaling here isn't going to work because Heihachi is just way too tall. And I mean, for King it's fine because King is already tall enough. You know, he's like about 6'5" or 6'6" really. So like it's okay, but we're already going to get an S.H.Figuarts one. And I'm sure like when Nina comes in, she's definitely going to be a lot shorter since she's like 5'3", I want to say, or 5'4". But yeah, like these two aren't really gonna work really. I do wonder if they're gonna add more characters though in the game dimensions line, because I still do like these figures, and I would want other figures or other characters that they would make to, you know, scale with them as well. I'll throw in some Jada Street Fighter figures. So, you know, here's Ryu right here, Chun-Li right here. Here is an S.H.Figuarts Akuma figure right here. You can see he is a lot taller here. Here is a D-Arts Terry figure. And I forgot Terry can't really stand that well. He just knocked over Kazuya. But here is just a Mafex Spider-Man figure. I'll add in another Tekken character. So here is Roger Jr. No, I'm kidding. It's not Roger Jr. It's just Ryu from Streets of Rage. But this figure isn't going to work though, because it's not really in scale really, unless you want to extend the legs a little bit. But even then, that kind of looks a little weird. But yeah, not really going to work that well. Now here's one last comparison. I figured I would throw this in since we now officially have S.H.Figuarts Tekken figures, but I wanted to compare it to some other Tekken lines. So, you know, we got the Storm Collectibles Kazuya figure, and then this is the Yoshimitsu figure from Epoch when they were doing those Tekken 3 action figures. And you can see like both of these are, you know, completely out of scale here. I feel like these figures fit a little bit more with these Storm Collectibles. And then even if I add the Game Dimensions Kazuya figure, like you can see like that still towers over these, but these two are a lot bigger than that. And then there's also the Play Arts figures, which are way out of scale. They're a lot taller anyway, but it is cool to still get more Tekken figures, especially the, you know, in S.H.Figuarts form now. I do hope the line really expands, because for whatever reason, like Tekken figures, they don't, like, the line just don't really last that long. Like, you know, you get like a few characters and then like the line is just gone really. I think Epoch still has the most figures in the roster, I want to say. I really want to say they still do actually. So I do hope the S.H.Figuarts line goes far. And I don't know if the Game Dimensions line is still going. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, I really don't know yet. And Storm, I'm sure they're still probably going to do more really. I hope they do more with like Tekken 8 really, because we still don't have anything from Tekken 8. And I don't know how long it's going to take them to finish Tekken 7 too. So yeah, I don't know really, but either way, again, I still do prefer this Kazuya figure the most. I think this is still my favorite one. I like the Storm Collectibles one, but this one's probably going to be my go-to for sure. Like, it's, you know, the scaling, you know, how clean it looks. I'm definitely liking this one a whole lot more. Okay, so final thoughts on the Bandai S.H.Figuarts Tekken 8 Gen and Kazuya figures. I personally think both of these are pretty solid. It is a shame that the accessories are lacking with these, but I will say the Kazuya figure is a whole lot better though. Better sculpt overall, it poses really well and has better range. Head sculpt is amazing. This is definitely one of my favorite Tekken figures in my collection. Now for Gen on the other hand, I really do like the paint job on the jacket. I think it looks very clean. Love the sculpting for the attire. Head sculpt is also pretty good. It looks a bit odd in some angles, but for the most part it has some likeness to Gen. I'm just not a fan of the skin tone. I do feel like it's a bit too pale. His articulation is fine. You'll still be able to pose him well enough. He just doesn't have the best for range in some areas, especially his elbows. He could also use a bit of a wash for his shirt and jacket, and the head probably seems a bit too small, but everything else seems okay. However, if this is still going to be a pass for you, then it's totally fine. The Game Dimensions line isn't too bad, especially since it'll probably be the cheapest option for 1/12 scale Tekken figures. And when I do review the S.H.Figuarts Nina and King figures, I'll still compare them to the Game Dimensions line so you can decide if you want to pick it up or not. But let me know, what are your thoughts on this in the comments down below. If you want to pick these up, they are available in a lot of online retailers. I got mine straight from Hobby Genki since they were only in the $55 price range. I think if you bought these on Big Bad Toy Store, they're going to be like about 80 bucks. So I wouldn't really want to pay that price. As always, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review. But until then, take care, my friends.